And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, C Plus Comedy. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there, episode 235. Here we go. I don't know. I think the last time I did this, I called it 235. But now we're doing it again. So maybe this is that. Last time I spoke to Bobby Moynihan for a couple of minutes. This time I was supposed to speak to somebody else. I'm not going to get into what happened. It's not my fault. Maybe the interview was already done. Maybe somebody offered to record it. Just saying, if you offer. So I've learned my lesson. It was another fucker. I was going to say a cuss word. It was another 10-minute interview. Doesn't matter. Here we are back at it again. Let's get started. What's been going on? Nothing of note. Just forgot to do this on Friday when I was planning on doing it. So here's our first story. It comes from The Verge, written by Mia Sato. Netflix tried and failed to build fandom with its Tudum. So if you don't know what Tudum is, I think it was netflix.tudum.com, something like that. Or Tudum. Tudum is the noise that a Netflix makes. This is a good title. The noise that Netflix makes. Anyway, and they had this website. I wrote down a completely different word than a lot of the words was supposed to be at the title of this episode. And so they have a fan website that is not run by fans. It's run by its own coworkers over there at the Netflix. And they had this website. It was basically the press before the press. They essentially were supposed to get press releases before, Variety and IGN and the rest of the other news outlets that put that stuff up. It's supposed to be all fan access. And, based on what has happened, it had two issues, and we'll get to that in a second. But here's what was going on. Netflix has been having issues with its subscriber counts, and it forecast the loss in subscribers that it had in the past quarter, and so I think what was it, like 200 million, something like that they lost or missed or whatever. Who knows? Who cares? Whatever. They topped out. Netflix is peaking, and people are either canceling or not signing up more. So Netflix had to cancel a lot of stuff. They canceled shows, sadly. They canceled animation projects, sadly. Even Meghan Markle's show that is yet to appear on Netflix was canceled. Pearl, I believe that's what it's called. And just turning myself up here in the audio form. So not only were Netflix's current and future projects messed with, they decided to do some layoffs at the Netflix site Tudum. Tudum. You know what I'm talking about? That's what it sounds like. Sadly enough, the website was launched just 6 months ago. It's a lot like the what other website? What's the one where they have like the top things that are on Netflix right now? It gives better metrics. I think that was launched within the year as well. And it was supposed to be a place for bonus content as well as this press release stuff and interviews and everything. And now it's not. And so it suffered from two things. So one of the biggest things was a lot of times they were supposed to get all this, special stuff before other outlets did. They did not. And that was a big problem involved. And then the second thing, which I think I'm forgetting right now, is that it's a project by Netflix about Netflix. And I can only go so far. Like, even if you look at the current stuff on the site, things are not sporadically, but it's a lot of stuff you can get elsewhere. A former writer who lost their job last week compared to Dumb to DVD special features and investments that other companies have made into supplementary material. A Criterion collection for normal people, as they put it. But it just didn't pan out because, quite frankly, I had no idea this website existed. And I would love supplementary stuff, video form, for these videos, for these movies, and for these TV shows. That's why I still have a huge collection of Blu-rays, and I still buy movies digitally, which is bad. I should not buy movies digitally because what if Amazon and Apple and Disney were like, nah, we don't want to do this anymore. It wasn't exclusive access, and tension grew between the writers and and Netflix itself, and what they're allowed to make, and if they were able to say whatever they wanted about shows. Like sometimes you got to be critical. You can't just always be positive about things that aren't doing well. Stuff like here's the example they give. They want to do articles, topics about Netflix shows such as Cheer, like one of the stars of Cheer, who was a teenager, I believe, but he was arrested for child pornography charges. The show dedicated an entire episode to this. What a sneeze that was. The show, bless me, dedicated an entire episode to this, but to Dumb was not allowed to write about it. That'd be like if New York Times gets in trouble for posting that Tom Cotton opinion piece, where he was blatantly racist, and then no one there was allowed to write about it. Or if I don't think that they did tackle this subject matter, but Michael Barbaro has always been a little bit unethical, even though he's a good journalist and he does do a lot of sensational work, and he works with teams that are able to help put together good works, but he is very unethical. And I went from slightly unethical to very unethical. And but the problem is Netflix, New York Times did not put out the best report on that, even though, what was it, the last thing they did was Caliphate. I think they took all that stuff back because somebody was lying. I think it was Caliphate. Anyway, and then it has been to be an NPR reporter that broke the story that Michael Barbaro was asking reporters not to post anything, not to say anything negative. What's going to happen to Dumb? I don't know. The person, the executive that launched it, Bozoma St. John, left the company. And, in the end, does it make sense for Netflix to cover its own stuff? Not really. But I do think that there is a place for it if it is supposed to be that engine that drives the behind the scenes, content for. I'm trying to avoid saying that word. The behind the scenes media for someone's favorite shows and movies that Netflix, that IGN, and that Variety and The Wrap and Hollywood Reporter and the rest of these sites don't get. Laid off to Dumb staffers are now fighting for some stability following the sudden gutting of the culture and trends team. Two affected writers told The Verge that a group of workers has asked Netflix to increase the 2 weeks of severance pay the company offered to 4 months. Former staff are currently negotiating with Netflix. And this is why we need unions this is why these people should be in journalism unions. Is that what I'm looking for? Journalism unions? Because I'm thinking they'll be part of the Writers Guild. But this is why there need to be unions for this type of stuff. Because, I read on LinkedIn yesterday, in fact, or Sunday, that a woman was, on Monday, this past Monday, a woman was supposed to start at Meta, at Facebook, and before that entire team started, Facebook laid them off and said, we're no longer doing this, and they gave them something like 4 weeks of severance pay, or 6 weeks of severance pay, and and now she's looking for a job again, and it's like she just signed an apartment lease and everything, and yeah, I mean it just stinks. That's why these workers and writers and people in the tech industry a lot of the time need to be protected. Tech, journalism, all that stuff. Let's move on. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Caitlin Huston. Or Houston, it's Huston. Roku, Apollo, among bidders for Starz stake as Lionsgate mulls options. So Roku has been trying to break into this streaming thing, and they do have the Roku channel, which is an app on the Roku platform itself, as well as mobile phones. I'll get to that in a minute, that you can watch not live, but streaming television on. And if you have Tubi, if you know Pluto, if you know Peacock's free streaming channels, part of that service, and if even if you subscribe to Paramount Plus and you see in the live section CBS News and old NFL games and old Nickelodeon shows just streaming, then that's what the Roku channel is. And there's no limit on these types of apps that have free streaming channels. Now I'll tell you, that was 2002. I'll tell you, back in 2005, if these apps existed, I would 100% have every single one of them downloaded to whatever I had, just because it was just any amount of TV, because I would watch anything. That's where I discovered Hulu. That's why I've had Hulu since probably the day it started. Like even when it was free. And for Netflix, I've had Netflix since 2008. So, or 2006. Because I got Hulu first. Probably 2006, 2007, 2008. So in that time frame. In that time frame of 2 to 3 years. And now this stuff has become a big expansion. And people, they're willing to take on a few ads if they can watch stuff for free. And if you have and not only that, but if you have good things to watch, then that's when it matters more for you to, even Amazon Freevee. That's what I was thinking about. IMDb TV, which is turned to Freevee, which is a horrible name. But even things like that, they have Mad Men. It's the only place besides AMC Plus to watch Mad Men. But there's ads. But it's free. Anyway, these free networks like Roku channels and Amazon Freevee and Tubi, those three in particular are creating, exclusive shows, basically making own TV shows. There's a Bosch TV show on Amazon Freevee, which is a sequel to the Bosch series that was on Amazon Prime, on Prime Video. And Roku bought all of the Quibi stuff, so now they're all Roku originals, and you can watch the new Reno 911 show on there, which is frustrating to say the least, mostly because the only other place I have Roku channels, is on is the iPad app, and you gotta AirPlay it to the TV, and because that's the only way to watch it, or to watch it. There's no app on Chromecast for Google TV, which I guess makes sense. But if you want to expand your options, that's what they should do. And because Apple TV's on everything now, except for Android phones, but it's on everything else. It's on Chromecast, Google TV. It's on Android TV. So Roku is already offering Showtime, and I believe they just added Discovery Plus, so you can subscribe to those streaming platforms within Roku, but also have those next to Roku's channels options. And now Roku wants to take on a little bit of Starz. Lionsgate has not been doing too well with Starz, because Starz is kind of like the little cousin of what Lionsgate has also. Lionsgate is the TV/movie studio, mostly movie studio, and they're exploring. Starz is the pay TV channel that had American Gods, that was canceled, that had The Girlfriend Experience, which I don't think is coming back, that had Vita, which I don't think is coming back. It's just, come on. Lionsgate is expected to explore a sale or spinoff. a sale order spinoff. Uh-oh, Johnny's here. Of Starz, which it acquired for $4.4 billion in 2016. The board in November 2021 has authorized this full or partial spinoff, much like how AT&T did with Warner Media. Starz is popular around the world. There's a Starz Arabia for the east side of the world, and I mean it's got good franchise shows like Power, which is franchised to hell and back, and Outlander, which does wonders on Netflix in its second life. So Starz should be, in order for Starz to stay afloat as a premium channel. Because right now, I don't know. I find it's treading a little bit water, but I mean, apparently it's not. In December 2021, Starz and Starz Play Arabia reported 19.7 million global streaming subscribers, marking a 44% increase year over year. And you just don't hear about Starz a lot, and the app, quite frankly, sucks. I get signed out, I think, every other time I open it. And I think for Roku to have a premium space with streaming, they would need to get a the only way for them to get that way in, or the fastest way, would be to buy Starz essentially, and then offer that as part of their package. Because you can't subscribe to Starz by itself without subscribing to cable. And, Starz has the first run for Spider-Man movies, for Sony movies, for Spider-Man and Venom and the rest of the Spider Universe, or Spider-Verse, as they call it. And then they also have that deal that they bamboozled with Disney, where they get some of the Disney Plus stuff because that's how contracts work. So this would be a very fast way for Starz to jump into the premium space, if not beat, but go toe to toe with the likes of HBO Max, the likes of Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu. Because when I think of premium in the streaming space, those are the companies I think of, and then Showtime and the rest. Not Peacock, although I would. Oh, and Paramount Plus, throw it up there too, because that's got it's got Halo and it's got all that Star Trek stuff. Speaking of which, I saw the Strange New Worlds. My God, it's a wonderful show. So fun, so interesting. I really like that show. It had a better start than while I do like Star Trek Discovery, had a better start than Star Trek Discovery because they finally are getting into the gist of it, and a faster start than Picard. Picard took me a couple episodes to get into. Okay. This next one comes from Variety, written by Jennifer Moss and Joe Otterson. By the way, I no longer, I don't know if I said this last time, I no longer have to turn off the camera anymore because I had to Google and do some deep Googling and find out what the problem was with the camera, with the Canon cameras, where they shut off when you set it to don't shut off when you use it as a webcam or whatever. You have to set it to 1 minute. And it just keeps running now. Anyway. Okay. So Warner Bros. Discovery is getting rid of scripted shows over there on TNT and TBS. They say they're pausing. And they're going to find $3 billion in cost savings across the new company in the post-merger era. The problem is the shows that are on there that were still running, I didn't think they have, first of all, any idea. This is a lot like CNN Plus, where things were just canceled. Things CNN Plus, where CNN Plus was just canceled and nobody knew about it. But I don't think they were warned, and I don't think that these shows have anywhere to go. I don't know. Because there are some great shows on TBS in particular. The Last OG, canceled. Miracle Workers, canceled. Chad, Up in the Air. And American Dad, which was renewed for 2 seasons. And that's an animated show. And quite frankly, I think that show was doing well for them. American Dad, in particular, American Dad moved from to TBS from Fox in 2014, and they have 2 more seasons. So, and the second season of Chad is premiering in in July or August. They just moved it. Oh, Miracle Workers wasn't canceled. They ordered a 4th season in November, but Last OG was definitely canceled, and apparently they had known for a long time. I like each and every one of those shows. In Snowpiercer on TNT, because Claws ended its run and Animal Kingdom's coming to an end. So I think those were the last 3 scripted shows. I like these shows. I haven't seen Snowpiercer, but it is something that I'm interested in because I really like the movie. It's one of the only Chris Evans projects I liked, and it's very true. And that, not another teen movie. What else? I like Knives Out. It was fine. But the solution would be to move I love American Dad. I love it so much. I watch it all the time. But the solution would be to move those shows to other networks. But the problem is to move it to streaming. And the problem is streaming will only, they expect certain milestones out of streaming, and not just them, not just Warner Bros. Discovery, it's everybody. It's Disney Plus, it's Netflix in particular. They expect very certain milestones. It's Hulu, it's Paramount Plus, and Peacock. They all and Apple. Well, I don't know about Apple TV. I don't know what they expect. I think the only thing that they've canceled is Mr. Corman. I think that's the first show they canceled. Starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a teacher, I believe. I listened to the Fresh Air at the time when it came out, and that he was on, and I still don't know what the show was about. But you know what? I do like JGL. He's in my favorite Christmas movie, which is The Night Before. I watch it every year, and and every time I sit down and watch it, I go, God, I gotta watch this again. And every time by the end, I'm like, this is the greatest Christmas movie in the world. Very true. So the answer for this would be to move Chad and Miracle Workers over to HBO Max. The same thing that Comedy Central did with Awkwafina is Nora from Queens and the other 2. However, and Southside. However, I know Southside has done wonders for HBO Max. I think that they really liked it. I think that it's renewed. But the other 2 we haven't heard about, and Awkwafina's Nora from Queens we haven't heard about. And they have a label at the end of those episodes in the credits that says Comedy Central Original, because Paramount has specific plans for Comedy Central and for MTV, where MTV, I guess, is like the reality center, or the competition reality center, and VH1 is the regular reality center, and then Comedy Central in particular is the animated. They want to put all the adult animated shows on there. So they have no room for scripted stuff over there. Yeah, and American Dad goes to Adult Swim. I think that would be the best idea, because after American Dad has a new episode on Monday on TBS, it typically goes to Adult Swim the following Monday at 10 o'clock. Same time, same place. Different place. To find $3 billion in cost savings is going to be rough. And I did not expect to see two networks basically go to sports. TBS is going to be basically the baseball channel, and movies, and TNT is going to be movies, and the hockey and basketball channel, and soccer. I think they air soccer as well. No, USA airs soccer, because sometimes I watch it. So it stinks. I don't like it, and it's all shows I watch, and yeah. At least the last OG came to a good conclusion. I don't think there was a cliffhanger like there was last season. Anyway, this one comes next from The Wrap, written by Sharon Knoll. The problem with Jon Stewart has a problem with ratings. Well, I was just talking about Apple TV Plus not doing not doing what they want. Problem with Jon Stewart is a show on Apple TV Plus. Jon Stewart heads back into a late night-esque style show. The first, I think, 4 episodes were last fall, or in the last winter rather, and they aired every 2 weeks, and they were supplemented by exclusive YouTube videos and a podcast. Then the show came back for I believe 4 more episodes, and it was once a week. Now they moved it up closer, still supplemented by exclusive interviews on the or videos on the YouTube channel, along with the podcast. Now, in theory, for a show like this, The Problem with Jon Stewart, where it takes one issue and it just extrapolates and expands it and provides media and interview, and they have they do like a 20-minute preamble or regular amble. They do like a 20-minute thing where they talk about the story, and then they do like another 20-minute thing where they have a panel and discussion about it. And in theory, all of that should really work together. The podcast, the show, the exclusive videos, the everything, the promotion they've been having for it. I have not heard or read many positive things about this show. That's not to say I read reviews or anything, but just based on who this show should be for, which, and in any case, I think it kind of sounds like it's for 18 to, 18 might be a little bit young, but it's for the 18 to 36 year olds. It's not for the old guard. It doesn't feel like it's for the people who would sit down with. I think it's for the John Oliver crowd. I think it's for, it's a little bit. It's more in depth than what you find on broadcasts, but it's not as tight as what you would find with John Oliver's show. The talk show, let's get into the numbers, had 180,000 homes tuning in during its first week. And I was one of them because I did watch the first episode. Saba TV reported, but that number has dropped 78%, a mere 40,000 by its 5th episode. Comparing it to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, 844,000 U.S. homes that very same week. Apple TV is a lot like every other streamer in which they do not share viewership stats. They're excited about it. I guess Stewart's fans are excited about it, but it's a lot like I'm blocking my mouth as I talk. I don't want anybody to hear me. Oh my God. It's a lot like when Colbert started. When Colbert's show, The Late Show, his version of Late Show began. I think, and I still think to this day, this exact thing. People kind of, his like hardcore fans. I think that they wanted something like his Colbert character from the Colbert Report, and that's this, and then when that show started, people were, that was kind of, and you can see it in Colbert. He's getting his feet wet, and he was show running the show, and the show suffered for that, and I also think that because he brought along his 50, 60-year-old writers to a broadcast platform. I also want to say that the Late Late Show, James Corden is leaving the show, and I am not joking. I want to campaign to take that slot. I'm not joking. I'll do that. I'll do it in a heartbeat, Paramount. I'll uproot my life. I got nothing here. Just let me and the cat. We'll drive on over there. Drive on over to LA. So, so I think that people. So what I'm saying is Colbert went in to the Late Show and people had an expectation for what it was going to be. And the same thing's going to happen for when Conan decides to come back to his show, to do a show on HBO Max or wherever it lands, probably HBO Max. And whatever it turns out to be, people are always going to be expectant of what it should be. Because Conan on TBS was not dissimilar from his short stint in the Tonight Show, which was not dissimilar from the Late Show, or Late Night, excuse me, Jesus. When they came up with these titles, they should have come up with something different. So we have all of the streaming talk shows that were only on streamers, all hosted by white people and 3 women. I mean, there's more women hosting streaming late night shows than there ever were hosting regular late night shows. We got, well, no, actually, I think it's a tie because streaming late night shows, Norm Macdonald, Joel McHale, but then with Chelsea Handler, Michelle Wolf, and Sarah Silverman. But then for regular late night shows, it's Sam B, Lily Singh, and Busy Phillips, I believe. And then, I mean, maybe Joan Rivers, but I don't know if I really count that. I mean, we'll throw Joan Rivers in there. Okay, anyway. The sporadic schedule for Problem with Jon Stewart hasn't helped. Episodes originally dropped 2 weeks apart, and then when they returned in March, it then took off 4 months. And then in March, the episode switched to a weekly model. Apple is admittedly a much smaller platform than Comedy Central, which Stewart hosted Daily Show for 16 years. Where Stewart hosted Daily Show for 16 years. Cable has a base of about 70 million subscribers. Apple's is estimated to be about 12 million. Anyway, it's hard. It's hard. And dang, I don't think I have enough time. I wanted to get into maybe next time. We'll do it next time. Whatever. Who cares? But now let's go on to the bigger news of the late night too. James Corden said he's leaving the show. He made the announcement during his taping of his show, and quite frankly, he just said he and his family are homesick. His contract was set to expire this August, but he signed an extension that'll keep him on through next spring. He's one of the first ones of this recent era of shows hosts where they have decided to leave. You always hear that Kimmel is ready to step out, and other people and such like that. But I think. And Kimmel's contract is going to end soon. I really have. Say what you will. There's a lot of stuff to dislike about Corden, but he did. Kimmel started the virality of videos. He started viral videos for late night and when they weren't a regular thing, and then Jimmy Fallon has had a hand in making them explode and just as popular. And James Corden, I would say, modernized it because he brought in a lot of stuff. He brought in, quite frankly, younger writers or more writers who were more in tune to the quicker changing pace of the internet versus what broadcast was. Because if you watch like old Letterman clips, which I do, and watch old Conan clips, which I also do, and watch old Carson clips, if you even go back even further, it's kind of the same style of comedy. For if you watch Carson from the early run to the late side of the run, or if you watch Conan from, like I just said, he made basically the same show from late night to Tonight Show to Conan on TBS. It's an interesting kind of plateauing of evolution versus you see from when Kimmel started to when Fallon switched over to Tonight Show. I think that's really where it changed, and to where Corden came on the scene, and he just kind of he made things on TV that were meant for the internet, the carpool karaoke stuff, which I don't know if the TV show on Apple TV Plus now, it moved from Apple Music to Apple TV Plus, which I don't know if it does well, but there you go. And now I think that networks are more reliant, broadcast networks in particular, are more reliant on the shows not just doing well on broadcast, but doing even more well, more popular, doing better, doing even more better, doing better online. So if a clip, and YouTube in particular, it doesn't even have to be like, if they don't have to make TikTok videos, but if they can hit on a TikTok trend and then make that explode over on YouTube, that's where the ad revenue comes in. And yeah, so anyway, I never expected to see, in fairness, I never expected to see Corden even step into, wait out Stephen Colbert and then step into that late show. Corden has, he fits well into that 12:30 slot. Not as well as Craig Ferguson did. I mean, geez, Craig Ferguson was just a whole different beast. His show was anti CBS late night a lot of times. In some cases, if you go back and look at the some clips of his show, it's just I really wish that CBS or if he owns the clips, like Letterman owns the clips or Letterman is uploading clips to his YouTube channel. Letterman himself, big bearded Letterman, sit down on the computer like, okay, today's St. Patrick's Day. We'll upload a video of Will Ferrell talking about St. Patrick's Day. But I would really love to see an official channel for Craig Ferguson's run on the Late Late Show, because it's just God, it's so good, it's so insane. And same thing for Conan. I'd love to see more Team Coco videos loaded, but they come one at a time and they're very slow. Anyway, the late night game is changing, and we'll see more of it. Actually, I was going to do the state of late night, but I'll do it or late night report card for spring 2022. I will do that in next week's or this week's the podcast after this. Who gives it? All right, listen. If you like what you heard here, I don't know why you would. I don't know why you wouldn't. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can, see interviews with your favorite comedians or comedy adjacent or entertainment people. Sometimes it's just people who are related to that stuff. You can also see a video version of this show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where I am sitting in a yellow shirt. It is morning time. I won't tell you what time it is, but let's just say I'm still riding that high after my gym time. Yesterday was 2:59, 2 hours and 59 minutes I was in the gym. Today it was 2:40, I think, or 2:50 something. Yeah, I'm wasting a lot of time in that. Let's see. What else? Oh, youtube.com if you want to see a video version of the show, youtube.com/cpluscomedy, see a video version of the show. As well as News Time, which I promise there are 2 episodes made. I will put them out this today or tomorrow or some point, as well as 2 more episodes, so I can be back on track, baby. Let's see what else. That's it. Okay, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Tell your friends, rate, review, subscribe to the show, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Instagram, Twitter @CplusComedy, me on Instagram and Twitter @ChadBlackWhite. That's it. Goodbye.